This is a $150 smart mug. Who could this possibly be for? Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad that you're here today, and we're going to be doing another niche product review, second one in the running. I'm actually trying to figure out now what I'll be doing for the other videos, but I do have this one thing. Last week I also did the Remarkable tablet too, so if you haven't seen that, definitely go check it out. It's a very unique and interesting product. I actually used it for this video today to write some of my notes and everything like that, because I can't keep it all up in here. Otherwise it'll be just a chaotic mess. But today I have a different product, and I like to use this thing with the Remarkable tablet, not because it works together, it's just more of a vibe. And so that is the Ember Mug. Now this is not the second edition, even though the second edition is basically the same. It just offers a different size and a little bit more battery life. But this is the Ember Mug, and it's a smart mug, and we're gonna get into the nitty-gritty of all that it is, all the things I wish it was, and who is this for, because it's definitely not for everybody, but it's really cool piece of tech that I think we all could appreciate. What comes in the box of the Ember Mug? I don't have the unboxing experience to do for you today, but I can tell you what came in it, and that was the mug itself. Of course, you will get a power cable and adapter to the wall, and then you get this thing what they call as the coaster, and this is actually what charges your device throughout the day or whatever. And it's actually a really cool piece of tech, and it's really easy to use, and it's not like what people might fear it might be, but a little bit more on that later. So to go over the quick features with the Ember Mug, so this is a 14-ounce unit. Now their new version, they have a 10-ounce and a 14-ounce unit. This is the original. There really is no difference. I mean, you can go look it up on their website. The only difference is a little bit longer battery life and that difference in size, if you want a little bit less, or if you want the bigger bit. Honestly, I think the 14 ounce is what I like, not because I drink more coffee, but I can keep more in there throughout the day and not have to go refill. The Ember Smart Mug has this LED on the front, and it just indicates whether you've reached the temperature that you've set through the mobile app, whether it's charging, needs to be charged, or any other number of things. Really easy to understand once you kind of read up on it. But honestly, out of the box, like, it's not as clear. At least for me, it wasn't, because I usually skip all the tutorial instruction things, but actually it's pretty intuitive once you think about it. So I like that. Also, the built-in battery is right here at the bottom. You'll notice there's like a little seam that is where the battery is held. They say the battery can last up to 60 minutes if you're at 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I will go into the battery a little bit later, but I've also noticed that these numbers are kind of, not ambitious, but I don't think they're quite representative in a real world situation, but just something to keep in mind. So the mug has 120 degrees Fahrenheit to 145 degrees Fahrenheit temperature range, which honestly is more than enough. I don't know who's really drinking at 120 degrees Fahrenheit unless you got a really sensitive, palate where you just can't drink certain things really hot or whatever it might be. Whatever your preference is, you can do that on this mug, and that's kind of the beauty of it. Also, there is the auto sleep / on off feature that comes on with this, which is great because I don't have to worry about it turning on the heater when there's nothing in the mug. It actually knows when there's something in the mug. I think I might have like a little bit of maybe a scale in here or something. Somehow it knows that there's liquid inside the mug. So all these things are pretty intuitive. So all you do is you fill up the cup and then you're ready to go. But I wanted to go further into this mug and exactly who is it for, because it's not for everybody, as I mentioned earlier in the video, but I think it might be for a small group of people who are really just enthusiasts about a few different things. So let's talk about the Ember Mug itself. So right off the bat, it's got some heft to it. Don't know the poundage, don't know the weight, but it feels quality. It is made out of a stainless steel body, and then it's covered in a ceramic coating. They have different colors. They got the black, white, I think there's a gold, and there's now a red, which is newer for the Ember Mug 2, because I don't think they actually sell this one anymore. This is the original. I mean, it's a mug. I mean, it's a very minimal, but it's very pretty at the same time. Handle's good. It feels very balanced. Doesn't feel like I'm carrying like a giant weight. It just feels like you're paying a lot, right? And so you're getting a product that feels that kind of quality. So that's good. I'm glad to say that, because a lot of times you get these weird products that look really cool, but then you get in, it's got like the creaking and kind of, you can see the cracks and the seams like between the stuff, and it's never a good user experience when you pay so much and then you have to deal with that. So this, good quality, definitely love it for that. But there are some things with that as well. Really quick, haven't noticed any paint chipping. I don't know if that was a question that people had. I've had this since December. It is now February, almost March. No paint chipping, but I could imagine it though if you throw it in a dishwasher, which you are not supposed to do. This is hand wash only. I don't mind it, especially with a piece of tech. Like, I don't really want to throw this stuff in the dishwasher anyways. I don't throw my regular mugs, really, one of my favorite ones ever, in the dishwasher, because I'm worried that it might break. So I'm not going to do it with this. But I'm glad to say that it doesn't chip. So whatever they're doing for the paint and the color, doing a real good job with that. What I have noticed with the mug though is occasionally you get some fingerprint, bits on the mug. Easy to wipe off, like even with your hand, with your palm. So I don't really notice this as a big deal. I think it'll be just fine, especially with the white one. You definitely won't be seeing anything. I don't know about the golds. I think it's more like a metallic finish, so there's more of a sheen to it. There's a shine. That might give it to you, but this, I mean, it's minimal. It's there, but it's not really that much of an issue. Just thought I'd mention it for y'all. So you notice right here, this is a seam on the mug itself, and that's where the battery sits. And then you have these contact rings that are used for charging up your mug that you put on the coaster right here, on those little pins that you just saw, and you plop it wherever you like. And I think that's a really awesome feature that I think some companies overlook on when they develop or design a product. Is I need things not to have to be so like it must fit in exactly a perfect way, otherwise this will not work. Especially with a mug, it's something that you just kind of put down, every so often, and you don't want to think about where that's going to be. Placing it down wherever and however is perfect. And I think that's a really good feature to have with a product that is like this. I don't know how to call it, but it's just very useful, and you would notice it if it wasn't there. Really quick with the battery, they do say it'll be taking up to 30 minutes to 60 minutes to get your beverage fully up to temp. Now that depends on the temperature that you're getting. I think they're rating that for 135 degrees Fahrenheit, since they also mentioned that it's about an hour of time that you have for the mug to keep the temperature of the beverage without the coaster. So that's its runtime, about 60 minutes. Takes about 60 minutes to heat up. So you kind of can see where the issue gets in where maybe you don't have the coaster with you, but it's at full charge, and you're getting your temperature up to 135 or holding it to 135, and by the time it's there, your battery's depleted. And I will say with this mug, once the heater is off, it doesn't hold the heat that well. And that's like really something that bothers me, because I know it's not a Yeti, it's not all these other things, but I feel like it should still hold a little bit of temperature even without the heater. I mean, I noticed it being an issue when I take it to go to a meeting. I'm not bringing the coaster with me. I'm just bringing the mug. And halfway through the meeting, I've run out of the battery, and now I got a cold cup of coffee, which is never good. I hate lukewarm coffee. So that's something that kind of gets me a little annoyed, but the way I typically use it is very different. So the way I typically use this mug is at my desk at work, and I just leave it there every day. I come back to it every morning, and I leave it there every night, and it stays there. I don't think this was meant to be used to be taken out of its coaster for long periods of time to go travel somewhere or whatever. I'm sure you can find a way to do that, but I don't think it was intended for that, and I definitely don't use it myself in that way. I always just leave it at the desk, so I take it off the coaster, drink it, done, putting it back, and it's always charging, always staying heated, and it lasts forever when it's on the coaster. So I have an 8-hour shift. My coffee is hot from 8:30 till 5 p.m. So I love that. But if someone's looking for this as like a travel, they do offer a different mug, which they do have the Traveler Ember Mug. I don't know what that's like. I honestly would still recommend like a Yeti though, if you're gonna do something like that, just because you don't have to worry about recharging. The Yeti will just keep that thing hot for hours. But this is more for like the office desk work, where you really enjoy that good quality cup of coffee, as well as like you really just enjoy the tech specs of that. So again, it's very niche. That's the whole point of this. It's a very niche product. It's not going to be for everybody, but for me, that's how I use it, and I think that's how most people are going to use it. All right, I want to go over the software bit, because I think this is where it really shines. Obviously, the hardware is really impressive and what it can do, but the software is how it really operates and maintains all its features and functions, and they do a really good job, and it's really clean. And I think this is like one of the highlights of this mug, outside of it keeping the temperature. But I don't think you would really be able to do that as well without the app. So able to pull out my phone and just be able to set my coffee to 135 degrees Fahrenheit or 132 degrees Fahrenheit right off the bat is really nice. So they added a new feature within their update to add presets for different beverages that you're drinking, which might seem like a pretty normal, simple thing, but they go further to even when you create a new preset, you can select which brand. Now there's a selective amount of brands, but you have your Starbucks in there for sure. And you can select latte, Americano, regular coffee, cappuccino, and it'll give you a suggested temperature range or temperature to set your beverage to that would kind of best fit that beverage. You of course can change that, but it's nice to know that maybe you want to experiment or you don't know, because there are different drinking temperatures for different beverages that work better, and it's nice that they give you a suggested thing. I have a few presets of my own, from Starbucks, pour overs, drip coffee, to a latte, all these different things, to my usual Americano that I get from my wife's work. So I like to have that, and as soon as you connect it to the device, which is just tap and you're done, it'll ask if you want to do any of the presets. Also, if you want to change temperature, they make the UI look so clean and so nice, and you just literally drag left or right, hot or cold, and then it'll make this cool little animation as it kind of like trickles in one direction towards that temperature, and then you get a notification on your phone once the temperature's reached, or the LED on the mug itself will blink or kind of like fade in and out, letting you know that it's ready to go, which also you can program what the LED color is for your mug when that happens. It can be all the things, blue, neon blue, green, whatever you want. So remember how I mentioned the presets on the software side of things and then the app, so you can set temperature and all those things, but with that you can also add, say you're drinking the Americano, you can add how many ounces of that Americano are you drinking, or that the beverage comes in, and then how many shots go into that beverage, or how many ounces of a drip coffee did you have, or a tea, or whatever it might be. So with that, Ember is able to connect to your device's health app and record that data into the app itself. It'll ask how much of that drink did you drink, or if you drank anything at all, and then through a series of questions or just a setup within the presets, you actually will be able to put that into your health app for analytical data later, be able to monitor, and this can be really useful for some who really need to be careful of how much caffeine they're intaking. So, or if you're just interested and you're just curious to see, you're trying to do some experimentation on how much caffeine. So that's kind of the overall view of the Ember Mug. It's a really cool product. Again, not for everybody, but I know you guys are waiting for the one thing is, well, how much does it cost? So, as I'm looking at my notes right now, your 10 ounce is going to cost $130, and your 14 ounces cost $150. So you got a $20 gap, which honestly, at that price, I just get the 14. But it's up to you. you're taking in and how that affects you throughout your day. So I think it's a really cool little feature that they just added, and if you're interested, it's there. So for those who are just trying to do the tracking, this has that, and I think that's a really cool little bit that they did. So we got the prices out of the way, $130 to $150. But who is this really for? This mug, as you can tell, is not for everyone. It's a really cool thing. I use this every day, but I still also use my Yetis. I'm not taking this on a road trip. I'm not taking this, you know, outside of the office. These things are not happening because it's meant, I think, to be in those stationary places where you're always coming back to that place. It's always, you know, that coaster is always available for you to place on it, and you're not really moving from that position. Granted, I'm sure there's many other use cases for this device, and other people have found different ways to use it that works for them, but I think most people are using it in that way. So again, who is this for? I think this is for the coffee or tea enthusiast who really cares about the quality and temperature of the beverage that they're taking in, and also the tech person, because this is just a really cool piece of tech. And I'm both of these things. I love the tech, I love the coffee, and I find a way to use this in my everyday life. Though it's hard to recommend because it's $150, so I can't recommend this to everybody, but I can recommend it for the niche enthusiast for these two particular things. Now maybe you're not that person. This is a great gift if you really want to go above and beyond for someone who is like that. It's an awesome gift. No one really ever would hate this. It's a nice, thoughtful gift that does a lot of cool things for an individual. Not necessary to have, but that's why it's called niche products. Not for everybody. It's not meant to be the mainstream, but hopefully this review gave you a little bit more information on the device itself. And if you want to see more of this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe to see more of it later in the future. Also, leave me a comment down below if you have one of these, or if you're interested in buying one, or really anything else. And as always, you guys have a good one. Deuces.